Yeah, Lions on the prowl, Lions on the prowl. Always putting work, always going wild. Lions on the prowl, Lions on the prowl. Always putting work, always going wild. Best quarterbacks you ever heard. Get up, Matthew Stafford, Golden Tate, Marvin Jones. They gon' get it in the zone. No matter how they try to fan, Darius Slay gon' get it in. That Patricia Ball Grant, making sure our players win. Got a dangerous offensive, they always bring the pain. Talking about that Ricky Wagner, can't forget about TJ Lane. Detroit Lions got it locked. Tim and Jim gon' let you know. This the Lions on the prowl. Come on, time to start the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lions on the Prowl. This is Jim.
And this is your Maniac Tim.
And welcome to a very special episode of Lions on the Prowl. This is episode 10.
Wow, it's hard to believe 10 already.
Yeah, it is. Now, episode 9 did over 2,200 downloads, and we really appreciate that. Everybody that's listening and helping us out, and we appreciate you, especially our Facebook group, Lions on the Prowl Facebook group.
Yep, and of course we got to celebrate our Maniac of the Month, which is Judy Schwartz.
And may the Schwartz be with you.
Oh, yeah.
That's an awful thing. We probably shouldn't say that. But anyway, so we wanted to give a shout-out to Judy. She is our May Fan of the Month. And so we will be choosing another Fan of the Month, the first show in June. So Tim will be getting back with you guys, and you can get your submissions in so that you can be a part of that.
Oh, yeah. And we really appreciate it. We like you guys to be excited and really raving fans about the Lions. And about the show, too, you know, because we work hard to bring you the show every week.
Yes, we do. You wouldn't believe how hard this has been this week. And I tell you about video. We've kind of scrapped that idea for a while. Everything had gone wrong. I went through 3 computers today to try to find one that actually is working correctly. But we laugh about this every week because it happens every week. But we're not complaining. I don't want you to take it as that. It's just a thing that happens in life, and we kind of laugh it off, you know. And it's crazy, isn't it, Tim?
Oh, yeah, it is. But, you know, we just keep on plugging along, you know.
Keep on keeping on.
Yep.
Okay, our sponsor this week is West Michigan Nutrition, and they're located at 1705 Beacon Boulevard in Grand Haven, Michigan. They serve nutritious, delicious shakes, and I mean really delicious. Those things are really good.
Oh, yeah, they are.
And energizing teas, and I can speak about that because I have a tea bomb almost every morning before I go to work, and it gets me through my day. It really does. And I'm not making it up. I'm telling the truth. That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, because Jim does put in a lot of hours, you know, at work, you know, normal job, and then he goes ahead and comes and works here on the show a lot, you know, prepping that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we do a lot. Both of us do a lot. And that's fine. It's the way it is. I have no problem with that. But we want to thank West Michigan Nutrition with Dave and Andy for being our sponsors. And we're time now to give our shout-outs for the week. And Tim?
Of course. Well, the Facebook groups. We want to really highlight some members.
Them. Yeah, okay. We can go with. We got in our Facebook group, I'm just going to name some names off the top. Sean and Don. And Ron Vandermolen, Teresa and Ron.
Yeah.
His name's Ronald. I'm sorry. Yeah. But we appreciate all of you being in the group and Ray. But we appreciate you guys because you guys get the discussion going. You guys are the ones that are going to give us the topics that you want to hear and what we do on the show.
Yeah. And I also want to give a special shout out this week to my wife. She's been really supportive of me for doing this show, and we lose a lot of our time together because I'm doing this show for you guys, and she's been behind me, my backbone. I really hope that you guys will be thinking about her. Her sister's gone through a major operation this week, and I want to give a shout out to Mindy too.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been rough for a lot of people this week, and I want to give a shout-out to my wife as well, who puts up with me, and God knows why. Because I am no picnic to put up with sometimes. But my other shout-outs is to Amber and Cameron. Well, we collectively call them Cameron every week, But the sneak peek for next week, Cameron will be on the show next week as a guest, and we'll be talking to him about his Lions fandom.
Right.
And how maybe Maniac Tim will see and test him and see if he's a maniac or not.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Now, I do know he likes Matthew Stafford a lot.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And we'll get to that interview next week, and we'll hope you all tune in for that. I wanted to give a couple other shout-outs. One is one of my friends, been a friend of mine for a long, long time. Ran into him at Myers, I think, or someplace.
You didn't hurt him, did you, Jim?
No. Everybody's fine. And I wanted to give a shout out to Brian Seawald.
Oh yeah.
Hey Brian, how's it going, buddy? That bad, huh?
Oh, Brian.
Dang it, dude. That's enough of that. Okay. And another guy, I got into a couple of podcast pages because I want to learn more about how to, get us out there and get us to, serve you better. There's a guy named Chris Gray, and he's www.totalnerdtakeover.com, and he does a couple of different things. He does a couple of podcasts. One's a Game of Thrones podcast that looks really good, and I haven't got a chance to listen to him yet because I don't say I did it if I didn't. So I have not listened to them yet, but I had a great conversation with him this morning. I just want to give him a shout out on our show.
Okay, shout out for you.
Also, Derek from work, thanks for putting up with me. And Dave from work, and I say that a lot, thanks for putting up with me. Okay, and it is now time for the player, a legend of the week.
Okay, and that would be Bobby Lane?
Bobby Lane. And this is a very controversial one. Yes, he's a legend.
Yep.
And yes, he's was a great quarterback for the Lions from 1950 to 1958.
Yeah, had 3 straight championship wins.
Yep.
And went to 4 NFL championship. That, of course, is before the Super Bowl. But
right.
Meant the same back then,
It wasn't the same because it was before the merger.
Right.
So, NFL, AFL merger, and it was not a Super Bowl. So technically we've never won a Super Bowl, but we have won 3 championships and was in 4 championship games. So Bobby Lane played in 4 Pro Bowls with the Lions. He made first-team All-Pro twice with the Lions, and he was credited with creating the 2-minute offense.
Oh, wow.
That Matthew Stafford runs really well now.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Lane got upset, and I want to get into this because Bobby Lane was... It's hard to say that, but I think he's the best quarterback they've ever had. And here's my reasoning, because I know everybody's going to say, no, Stafford's better. He put up more yards. Well, 3 championships in 3 years. I know it's not Super Bowls, but it's championships.
But, back then that was, kind of the Super Bowl because, the major league of the 2 leagues was the NFL. So if you look at it, that was the best you could get back then. Right.
And I believe, to me, I think Stafford's an outstanding quarterback. I think he's an elite quarterback. And a lot of people don't believe that. But I do not believe, until he wins those championships, that he's good as Bobby Lane.
Right.
That's just my opinion. So, but there's another story with this legend of the week. And it's not the most positive one, and he didn't leave a great taste in everyone's mouth when he left.
Right.
It's called The Curse of Bobby Lane.
But was it really?
We're going to go over that. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, but was it really his curse, or was it just something that, once again, the media went ahead and exploited?
Well, let's get into that right now. So the mythology of the curse kind of goes like this. The season after Lane helped the Lions win their 3rd and final championship was the 50s. Yeah.
Right.
And the Lions coach traded him to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
And they got quarterback Earl Morrell and 2 high draft picks. So Lane got upset and supposedly said the Lions wouldn't win a championship for 50 years.
Yep. Now, did this just take a life out of its own, or was it really meant as a curse?
See, that's the whole problem. Bobby Lane never talked about the situation with his family right up to his death. In an interview with Alan Lane, Bobby's son, he recounts his mother saying that people were talking to him as he was leaving for Pittsburgh, right? And he turned around and said, well, lousy, no good, blankety blank, that type of thing.
Right.
You won't win a championship for another 50 years.
So
this is secondhand information from the son, who says that his mother said that people were talking to him as he was leaving for Pittsburgh. So it's kind of like secondhand thing. So she said they finally had a press conference after he was traded, and around the time it happened, she said, my dad, well, I won't tell you what he called the Lions. You couldn't print it.
Oh, wow. Well, obviously he really was, frustrated with them. Angry, actually, for being traded, but...
Well, this started in the season before that. Because he had done a lot of off-field things, off-the-field stuff, like, drinking and all this other stuff. He was getting in some trouble. So they brought in another quarterback to, split time with him. He didn't like that at all.
No.
Then he broke his leg, and after that, they traded him to
Right.
Pittsburgh. So you could see where he had a little beef with them, especially because of, winning championships
Right.
there. But the interesting part of this is that no newspaper actually recorded him saying this, the phrase, the curse of Bobby Lane, doesn't appear in a newspaper until October 12th, 2001, with Jerry Green, a legendary Detroit football writer who began his column in where?
Oh, my God.
The Detroit
News. Hey, yeah. We all know how much we really love the Detroit News.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the organization, but we just had that Matt Patricia thing.
Right.
That we talked about last week. And now we find out in our research that the curse of Bobby Lane appears in what newspaper?
The Detroit News.
So was it a curse? Was it not a curse?
Or was it an excuse?
I don't know. Do fans use it as an excuse?
Could be. Because you had other teams that had, the curse, like in baseball teams, like the Cubs.
Right, Red Sox.
Yeah.
Seem to have some sort of curse.
Right.
Well, you know what, though? The bad part about this is in the last 50 years after he was traded, the Lions had the worst winning percentage in the NFL.
Right.
They won just one playoff game and 11 playoff game appearances since Bobby Lane left.
Right.
So, like you said, is it a curse? I don't know.
Right.
But it seems to have, when he left, it seems to have wrecked the franchise.
Right. Now, how many years after he was gone did it take for the NFL to actually merge with the AFL?
I don't know that.
Okay. We'll find that out for you next week.
Yeah, we'll have that on there. It was we do a lot of research, and I have a team that my wife researches for us a lot. So it's like, some of the things we get and some things we don't. That was one of the things I didn't know.
Right.
So I'm just going to say, hey, I don't know.
Right.
Oh. But the Lions have been horrible after this curse. I mean, just horrible. But the curse actually was lifted.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who was the general manager when that curse was lifted?
Matt Millen.
Matt Millen was here, found out about the curse,
mm-hmm.
and he said it didn't matter to him. It was all good, whatever. But unfortunately, Matt Millen didn't do so well with Detroit.
Yep.
And that's the next thing we're going to go into this week is Matt Millen. And Matt Millen, for all that he did, and a lot of people hate him and all this other stuff, he's battling a life-threatening illness at this point. He needs to have a heart transplant or he's not going to live a whole lot longer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's a rare disease. I don't know what the name of it is, but he had an interview, and he admitted that he wasn't ready to be the Lions GM.
Right.
And here's a quote. Really, when I take my steps back, I was not ready at all. Not even close. I was in over my head, and by the time I figured it out, it wasn't necessarily too late, but we were in pretty deep. he goes on to say something about, Mike Williams, like, my brain fell off my head. Why would I do that?
Right.
I listened to the group, and all that stuff. At least he takes ownership for this disaster that he kind of brought to Detroit, drafting a wide receiver like every year. And in the article, I thought it was interesting that they said that DeMarcus Ware was actually on the phone with Matt Millen.
Oh, wow.
When the group said they wanted the Mike Williams, the wide receiver.
So in other words, it was kind of peer pressure.
Yeah. Then he said, all right, I had DeMarcus Ware on the phone, and I said, all right, take Mike Williams. My son was in the draft room with us, and said, that's when my son punched me.
Oh, my God. His son knew better than him.
What a dope I was. The Lions were 31-81 while he was general manager.
Wow.
Just not very good.
I think, remembering back then, I think people just thought that he could come in and just the attitude change would be enough.
Right.
And obviously it wasn't, because we still had to deal with things, bad calls and other stuff. And of course the team wasn't really great at the time,
No.
I mean,
No.
Tried to fix it only with receivers. That didn't work.
And it didn't work out that well. Well, I'm coming to a new part of the show. This is a new segment that we're debuting this week. And it's going to be the Maniac Monologue. And what that is that Tim is just going to go off about a certain topic every week. And it should be hilarious, actually. It should be great. So we're going to let Tim take it away.
Okay, well, this week we're going to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. And what I mean by that is, penalties. A lot of people say, we're just making this stuff up. Well, you look at a former Green Bay Packer player, now outstanding player for the Detroit Lions, T.J. Lang. Okay, he was this year was added to one of the most penalized players of the year. Well, in Green Bay, he hardly got any. Why? Because the NFL does not look at Green Bay as being the wrongdoers that they are. That's really effed up. Because the Lions deserve the respect that Green Bay gets. And if you guys in the NFL cannot see that, go ahead and take a look at this. 7 penalties in 2017, his first year with the Lions, 470 yards. Okay, his last year with Green Bay, he only had 4 penalties for 35 yards. That was 2016. In 2015, he only had 2 penalties for 15 yards. Come on, this guy just don't go ahead and become automatically the worst player there is as far as for penalties just because he's wearing a Lions uniform. Another player that was reversed, as far as being the most roughest player of, the most dirtiest player in the league was Sue. He was caught everything in the book as far as for being sneaky and just vicious. But, once he got to Miami, you hardly heard anything about any wrongdoing. He wasn't penalized that much. Look, it's right here in black and white. Pull up the stats. NFL, start calling the plays right. Start looking at both teams. The Packers need to be penalized for when they do wrong, just like we do.
Absolutely, and thank you for that, Tim, because it brings to light something we were talking about last week, where it seems like we're treated differently than the rest of the league. And this is just another example of Detroit versus everybody,
right.
Which, there's a lot of people that believe that. There's a lot of people that don't. I kind of stand on the side that I do believe it. I do see that like Tim said, it's in black and white. It's right there. We're not going to hide from it, and we're going to look at it. I don't want to
call you guys out
one way either. I mean, I've said before, there's been times when the Lions have got away with some stuff.
Oh yeah,
but I call it right down the middle, like I see it. And even in the article, we took this from an article from Pride of Detroit, and even they said perceived leniency against the Green Bay Packers when it comes to holding. You just look at the numbers, and it's astounding that he never got above 35 yards in penalties since 2011.
Right.
He comes to Detroit one season, and all of a sudden he has 70 yards in penalties. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out something's wrong with this equation.
That's true. And that does make me upset.
I understand that. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be a work in progress. We're going to keep trying to bring you some different stuff each and every week. We don't want to get stagnant and give you the same old thing every week. So we're trying to do stuff differently. And there's going to be a couple more segments coming up that will be different that you guys are going to get to hear in the next few weeks. We have some plans, and we can't let you know just yet.
Yeah, because you guys got to tune in.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. So we have some NFL news. And the one I was looking at was the kickoff rule changes. Now, it's not actually official until the owners vote, and I'm not really sure if that's happened yet or not. I don't think it has. I think it's the end of the month. But it would eliminate the 5-yard head start for the coverage team. So, like, when they moved them up 5 yards, I think they started 30. Now they started 35. This is going to be different because everybody can kick it out of the end zone.
Right.
So there's really no chance to return the ball unless you've got a coverage designed to pin them back further, because we've been noticing that lately. So I think what the NFL was thinking is that it hasn't really helped because some teams are now, kicking it a little shorter so that they have the coverage units come in and take them down before the 20 or 25. So the rule didn't really help that much. Another part of this rule, there's a lot of levels to this. It would eliminate the all wedge and 2-man double team block. So you can no longer double team anyone. So the gunners on the edges, right, they're usually double teamed. And that's not going to happen anymore. That guy beats that one guy, he's down the field.
Oh, wow. So really, it sounds like the NFL is trying to make some more excitement with the game, on this kickoff.
It looks like they're opening up the field and giving, seems like it's going to be a more open game. There's supposed to be some levels to the coverage, too. A result of 8 of the 11 return team members will be required to initially line up within 15 yards of the restraining line with blocking prohibited for 15 yards.
Wow.
So they can't jam people right at the line. That's more punt return than kickoff, though.
Okay.
When they do that. And I think this is just for the kickoff.
Wow.
But it could be more potential explosive plays, but I worry about it because the NFL, there's some rumor that the NFL is going to get rid of kickoffs altogether.
Wow, we don't want that.
And I think if you got people that are only able to block one guy and they whiff on a block, this guy's coming 100 miles an hour at that guy, and there's going to be some collisions.
Oh, yeah.
And this may be something that's worse for safety than what they had before.
Yeah, it could be. But, of course, we'll need to, that is obviously a good point, and we'll need to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, it could do that. It really could be a good thing too. Right. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see it in action. I think it's going to be in the preseason if they do it, but I'm really not sure that they will.
Right.
But they're saying that the idea is basically to reduce the space and speed of collisions, but I don't see that. I mean, I kind of see the opposite happening maybe. But like I said, we'll all have to see what happens. It'll be the 21st or 23rd of May Well, they'll make that decision.
Now, let me ask you something. As far as how many of you fans, really think that, how important is a kickoff to football? I think it's really important myself.
I think it's a big play. I mean,
Yeah.
When you get together with your friends and, what's the most important thing? I mean, right before the game, kickoff.
Right.
Everybody's, geared up for kickoff. If you don't have kickoff, it kind of is a letdown. I don't know. Just for me, it's a big play. It's a tradition. It's a big play, and we all look forward to that, especially, kicking off the season.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't be able to say that anymore.
Right,
Placing the ball at the 20 to start the season
doesn't work for me, to tell you the truth.
It doesn't for me either.
It just takes too big of a part of the game if they cancel the kickoff.
I understand player safety. I've said this before on the show that I think they know what they're signing up for, and I don't believe that it should be.
Powder puff.
Yeah. You know what you're signing up for, and I may get some backlash, but you know what you're signing up for, and you should be able to figure that out.
Right.
And
you are getting paid really well for
millions of dollars and millions of dollars. No, I'm just kidding.
Of course, to be on the other side, so are the teams for the video gaming,
right,
but not like the NFL. The NFL is just, it's been around for a long time. It's been around, for a certain way, and how much can you take away from it and have it still be what it's been, what we have grown to love? Fans love certain things. They love seeing that run back. I remember seeing Tony Dorsett run back. Mel Gray. He just, the run backs just go ahead and bring the excitement to the game.
They do. They do. Except if they're the Lions and they throw a flag every time you run one.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. But I can't see, because you wait all off season. If you're like me, you just can't stand it. You want to see them play again.
Right.
So it's like you're waiting for that kickoff.
Right.
That's the whole thing. We're gearing up for kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
We're gearing up for kickoff, and I don't know why, but there's just something about that play to start the game that just sets that mood for the entire game.
And it's momentum too for that team.
Mm-hmm.
If they go ahead, well, for both teams, because if you're a great defensive team, and you go ahead and you stuff them on the kickoff,
right?
That just goes ahead and builds up more momentum for your defense, and of course the offense, if they go ahead and get a lot of yards or even run it back for that touchdown, that just starts your game out right. And
Absolutely.
It could bring a landslide.
It does.
Yeah,
I
as long
agree
as
with that.
refs don't go ahead and take away.
So I'm going to move on to something new.
Okay.
The Lions start OTAs next week.
Oh, wow.
So now we're going to get to see our guys out there in uniform and all that, if the Lions let us see anything, which they didn't with the rookie mini camp.
Right.
We got to see little videos afterwards. That's about it.
Well, is that a bad it's a bad thing in a way, but it's a good thing as far as for the opponents don't know as much about us.
Right. And you know what? In this usually I'm totally against that.
Right.
And you know that. But for this, we don't even know what their defense is going to look like.
Right.
If other teams don't know, that'd be kind of good too, I guess.
Right.
But you're still going to play preseason games. You're still going to have practices open to the public. You're still going to have all this. So I don't see what the secrecy is, because, unless you don't show anything of your defense and totally change it for the regular season, you're going to see basically what that defense is going to look like. I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be 3 safeties and, that type of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
With some linebackers and maybe 3 down linemen. But that's just what I think.
Right.
That's what the personnel that they put in there looks like. That's what they're trying to do. But we'll have to see it. And like I said, next week they start, and this is a big part of it.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we got June, July, August starts preseason.
Oh, wow.
And then we get to September, and that starts the regular season, you know. So we're going to be going into an NFC North show, and I don't know when we're going to do that yet, but we're talking about doing a full NFC North preview show.
Right.
And then we got a couple other shows that we're thinking of doing just in the middle there somewhere. And when we get to the season, we're going to be bringing you 2 shows a week. At least we hope so.
Yeah, I know we haven't been real great as far as for doing that,
Well, one of the reasons we didn't is because, full disclosure, I work first shift and Tim works second shift. So by the time he's home, I'm in bed, and by the time I'm up, he's sleeping most of the time. So we really have a hard time getting this together.
Yeah, and
I
work
during the week.
6 days a week now too.
Yeah,
so it's
I'm about ready to do the same here coming up.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. We don't get paid yet, but
Yeah.
hopefully soon we'll be able to do this at a more steady pace for
Right.
you guys. That's what we're trying to do. Next thing we're going to talk about, we talked about OTAs, and then we're going to talk about Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Because Matthew Stafford, to me, has proven himself.
Oh, yeah.
You were like
It
the
took a while.
biggest doubter, I think.
Okay, I was the doubter as far as for him when he's injured. That was where I really had a problem. When it was injured, and I always believe you should go ahead and do whatever it takes to win. And if his throwing hand was injured and it was causing losses, if it was, then I thought, well, maybe we should try a backup quarterback in.
Well, we didn't really have anybody that was anywhere near capable of running that team.
Right.
And I think we do now. We got Matt Castle in the offseason, and, we'll see what that does, which we've kind of forgotten about the offseason acquisitions, at least. I mean, some of us have. I guess. I kind of forgot about him for a minute. But the Lions, Stafford's numbers are outstanding, but when you pair the 4,000 yards a year with the fact that he's had no running game since 2013.
Right.
He's had a horrible offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
He went through, he did not go through 0-16.
Right.
Because he was drafted just after that year.
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted 2009, and 0-16 was 2008.
Right.
So he comes and inherits a team that didn't win a game.
Right. That's true.
And we've built it from there, and then we've rebuilt it from there, and then we've rebuilt it again from there. Or we're starting to again. But everybody gets on Matthew Stafford for not winning the big one, the big games and all this stuff. But he hasn't really had the weapons, I don't believe, to do that. Everybody knows he's going to throw.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that what's coming, and he still delivers 4,000 yards a year.
And of course, I have seen him improve a lot, and also, the comeback kid, he's definitely this era's, in the last few years, has brought the Lions back to wins or even close wins when they have lost, Yeah. So
he's got a lot of heart. He doesn't ever quit, it seems like. He keeps going through pain, through injury. And this year, they have built him an offensive line.
Right.
They have got Kerryon Johnson.
Yep.
Who hopefully will do what everybody else thinks he's going to do.
Yeah.
But me.
Right. Doubting Susie here.
No, Susie.
Just a
Doubting
joke.
Thomas.
Okay,
Man.
well, I know, but Susie came to the name. I don't know why.
That's not a good thing, dude. No, not cool at all.
Okay.
So, he's got talented wide receivers. He's got a good offensive line.
Right.
If they gel right and you give him time, he will pick people apart.
So,
he
in other
really
words,
will. So we should have a very, very good offense this year.
So what's your prediction as far as wins over the year?
Right now, because we haven't hit that second free agency yet, so there are a few holes yet. For me, there are.
Right.
But with the depth that we got and everything, now keep in mind that I don't do my predictions like everybody else does. I do right off the top of my head right now. Then I'll go game by game by game. I see who I think is going to win, who I think is going to lose. But my usual formula is, that the Lions have to take away 2 to 3 games for the officials. So if you think they could go 12-4, you probably want to say 9-7 or 8-8, because you're going to have those losses that the referees cause you every single year. Right. Now, if we start getting respect and we stop getting all these horse crap calls every game,
right? Just ask TJ Lane.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Then I seriously think this team could do some damage.
Right.
I'm worried about the defense a little bit. Bit. I haven't seen it. I don't know if they can stop anybody. I don't know if that offensive line is going to gel. They have good players on the offensive line, but who knows if they're going to work together as a team. Kerryon Johnson, I'm not high on him. Everyone else seems to be, but I'm not.
But he's not the only running back.
Yeah, there's a lot of other ones that we have, but I mean, Theo Riddick and Abdullah and all them. But LeGarrette Blount is my favorite out of all of them.
And what does he do? What does Blount do?
Win.
Yeah. Super Bowls.
Super Bowls.
Championships. And, okay, so basically what we're saying is that the Lions have worked hard over the past couple seasons to really build him, a running game, offensive line. So now it's time to deliver.
Yeah.
Now it's, if he's done great as far as the passing game, which he has, now with the running game, hopefully that's...
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, but he made they made the playoffs without a decent running game.
And I definitely want any fans out there that when the refs do a bad call, start yelling respect. Respect. Because that's what the Lions deserve.
Yeah. Why should our team get crapped on all the time? And seriously, it's ridiculous. We went through this last week, so I won't cry too much, I guess.
No, right,
but I want to put it out there that, you know what, we just want to be treated fairly.
Right.
Not Nick fairly.
I knew you were going to say that.
But no, I want our team to be treated fairly. Does that mean we have to get the same amount of penalties as another team? No. If we're doing the crime, we got to do the time.
Right.
I get that. But when you can see holding on Green Bay where they just take somebody and throw them to the ground and they don't get called for it, and their running back runs right up the middle because they've just held somebody down, and our guy touches somebody and they call it holding.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually wrong to all extents. Don't go ahead and...
It's a phantom call.
Right.
I mean, there's phantom calls, and then there's calls they don't even look at on the other team, and you start getting very frustrated with that. And so before the season, we don't really think about that, but my prediction right now, with the schedule the way it is 9-7 again this year.
Yep. But,
and that's a good prediction. That's actually
compared
really good
to some of
the... There's some teams that we play that are very good, but I think we're going to be very good as well.
But I think... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with 12-4.
Okay.
I just think that the Lions are ready to burst out this year in wins. And
I hope they are. I hope they are. I would love that.
And see, that's what I'm trying to get. The mindset, the winning mindset is, for so many years it's been, we hope we can do it. We hope. Well, our time is now to start winning, to go in there. And our time is now to put it back in the NFL's face if they go ahead and don't do the right thing. And I ain't saying be favorable to the Lions. I'm saying do the right thing.
Just do your job.
Right.
Just do the job that you're called on to do. And don't do it for one team or the other team. Just do it fairly.
Right.
Seriously, just
respect, credibility. We're talking about NFL credibility here.
Integrity of the
game.
game.
And don't speak it live it, NFL. I'm calling the NFL out on this.
Yep.
You know, we can speak about the Bobby Line curse all you want, but we all know that it's not only been that curse or bad plays, it's been bad calls as well. Not the only thing that has caused losses, but is a major factor.
I believe it is too.
You know,
and I agree with you that they talk about integrity of the league and the shield all the time.
right.
But then they can go make crap calls like Seattle and all that. We went over all those last week. And if you missed that episode, that was episode 9.
Right.
And we did go on a little bit of a rant because of a couple things that happened during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't care. I'll talk about it on every single
Right.
show because it's my show and Tim's show. And we can
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about whatever the heck we want.
Right.
But no, I'm sick and tired of the BS, and it's time for our fans to stand up and say we're not taking this anymore. You want to talk about integrity of the league and integrity of the game,
right.
but you screw up so many calls, and it's league-wide. They're
right.
screwing up calls.
And
Every week there's some controversy about something.
And one of the rules that I think they should throw away, as far as for you don't go ahead and fine a coach or a owner for speaking the truth.
Right.
Sure, you cannot just have everybody just slander, but if it's proven out there that that the calls are not being made like they should, that the credibility is not there, you don't go ahead and fine a coach for just bringing it out.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't like it because I think our people should be able to speak the truth about people. But
Right.
also, coaches ain't going out there and calling out players for other teams either usually.
Right.
And stuff like that because it's one thing to say that the officiating sucks.
Right.
Because that's just pointing to the whole crew or
Mhm.
not an individual. But when you start throwing mud at an individual,
Yeah.
I think it's wrong. On some level, because you don't want the kids learning that the officials are a bunch of BS and all this stuff. And I apologize too in some respect, because if the kids are listening to this, you need to respect the officials.
Right.
I'm sorry, but they're there for a reason, and just like a police officer or something like this, they do deserve that type of respect. On the other hand, when you're going ahead and doing as horrible of a job as they're doing, they should be fired.
Right.
I mean, the league should investigate and fire them. Or
Mhm.
do something. Fine them, suspend them, whatever has to happen. There needs to be a repercussion for what they do. But I also believe one of the rule changes I would like to see happen is that if the game ends on a controversial call, that game, fourth quarter or 2 minutes, whatever, gets replayed.
I agree. Yep.
Because there's so many times that someone loses in the last minutes of the game, then the call was
Right.
totally wrong. The NFL comes out and says, yep, that was wrong. Okay, now if you admit that was wrong and you're trying to get
Right.
the game right, then you need to go back and play it again.
Yeah, you do.
You don't need to play the whole game again. Just start it from a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. I know with the scheduling and all that, it would be very difficult to do that, and I understand why they don't do it. But you can't give a team a win just
Right.
on a whim. I mean, you can't do that. Even though you screwed it up, wins are very precious in the NFL. There's
Right.
only 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
You lose 3 of them on officials' calls, and you're done.
And then you got conference, you got tiebreakers and all that other stuff.
Right.
Affects things
Exactly.
too.
Exactly, like the Atlanta game.
Yeah.
But our show, we're running out of show this week.
Right.
And I just wanted to let you guys know that we appreciate you. A couple of things first before we go. I would really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button.
Oh yeah.
Also would appreciate it if you visit our page. We're having trouble with our mics, our setup, our system. We need some donations. We have a donation button on our website right now, and we would just appreciate anything you could do. We want to go to video and want all this stuff to happen. So if you can, that would be great. We want to bring you a better show. And, we appreciate you listening to us for this week. I'm Jim.
And I'm Tim, Maniac Tim.
And we're signing off for this week.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.